we're going to talk about what I was going to talk about 2 weeks ago, but they were sick. Is a lot of people were crying about Eminem's CD. Now it's kind of faded away. A week ago was getting. That's because what's all going on right now. But I'm a big. I was a big fan of Eminem, and I do think that he went back to his old school because he purposely wanted to make controversy. He made over 100 million sales on this, I think it was, or close to it. But he said a lot of controversial stuff to the point where people were, I've heard so much stuff, and I think people exaggerate to make themselves look like something on TikTok. This girl started bawling and crying, I can't believe it. If you haven't ever heard Eminem in the early 2000s, then you don't know what the fuck you're thinking. What people got to realize, the last couple years before this album, he was kind of soft. I get it. Different world, different time. I mean, this time he didn't give a fuck and he went back to his old school shit. And if you ever listened to him since 1999 or 2000, he was a lot different. In this album, pretty much, he brought Marshall Mathers back. And Death of Slim Shady. If you listen to the album, it sounds like his old school shit. He does get very offensive. He makes fun of everyone. Trans, gays, um, rappers, mentally challenged people, deaf people, and he makes fun of himself. He just says a lot of stuff that most people don't talk about no more. And he wants to purposely get canceled. And he really didn't because he doesn't give a fuck. He's just like Trump. He's like the rapper version of Trump. He don't give a fuck. That's one thing I will say about Trump. He don't give a fuck. Neither does Eminem. But the problem I have is these people are like, let's cancel him. Dude, go listen to his other albums. This was nothing to what, and they're starting to listen to his old shit. They want to cancel him. He doesn't care. He doesn't give a fuck, dude. He's never going to care. You're never going to be able to cancel him. Free speech. You know what? Canceling, the only thing is going to, a couple people are going to stop listening. No, sold over 100 million. Doesn't matter. Deadpool. I think it's almost $900 million now. Made more than both of those movies. The biggest R-rated movie all time. It's even getting up there. No one cares. It's going to be $1 billion soon. No one cares. It didn't stop it. It was I went to saw it. I liked it. But I will tell you this. If you've never seen the Deadpool movies and you're taking kids there, you should have known better. It's rated R. If you've seen the other two, I took my kids to the other two. I'm sorry. They were very offensive, cussing and swearing, and they both were R-rated movies. That's why Disney in first place didn't really want to do an R-rated movie with Deadpool. But they did, and it was a great movie. I went and saw it, loved it. I wouldn't take my kids there if they're under 7 or 8, but people are different now. People can do whatever they want. But I wouldn't take my kids if they're not a certain age. There's a lot of foul. The first two were foul, but I loved it. It doesn't bother me. A lot of gore, a lot of people dying. And this one, the same thing. Heads getting cut off, people getting killed, cut up. Fucking awesome. Wolverine, I will tell you this, for 55 years old, I wish I had the body he had, dude. That fucking dude, his body's better than it was when he was 35, 20 years ago. Dude keeps himself in shape. I will say that Hugh Jackman's a great guy. I always liked him. He was meant to be Wolverine, just like Ryan Reynolds was meant to be Deadpool. But this crying about getting offended by everything, I get it. There's some stuff that you do, but it's just music, guys. If you don't want to listen, here it is what it is. If you don't like something, I'm talking about everybody. If it offends you, don't fucking listen to it. Don't fucking mind it. You don't like certain things? Go on by your day and do whatever you want. I don't give a fuck what you believe in and what it offends you or what your belief. Fuck. Everybody's offended by something. If you don't like it, don't fucking listen to it. Don't push bullshit on people. Don't say, we got to cancel it. Fuck that. I'm going to listen to what I want. I'm not going to change because you don't like something. I get it. You're from a different time. Too bad. Some things I get was a little bit crazy, like in the 80s with the Revenge of the Nerds. I like that movie, but dude, they did some stuff that you wouldn't be able to do anymore. Sneaking in women's locker room, watching them nude. Porky's. There's a lot of movies in the 80s. And that was a teenage thing, getting laid. And it went a little too far. Like when the part where he goes and puts the helmet on. If you guys seen Revenge of the Nerds, and I'm getting this, he puts the fake Vader mask on and he makes love with her. And then she finds out it wasn't even him. Yeah, that's a little too much, bro. Like that, that's, wasn't consent. He dressed up to be. She thought she was somebody else, and oh yeah, whatever. It's just those were kind of movies in the '80s, and I get it. Like now, that ain't gonna happen. Look at the American Pie movies in the early 2000s and the end of 2012 and 13. I think that was 14 was the last one. They were offensive as hell, but if funny, most people liked it. I thought it was funny that dude fucked the pie. That was great. So that stuff doesn't bother me, but I guess people like the one girl was like gonna have a heart attack. She couldn't handle what Eminem said, and some of this other shit that she listened to his other albums. I can't believe he said this kind of stuff. Where the fuck have you been, man? Like it's crazy to me. The one thing I will say, it's such a change. Stuff that didn't bother people 10 years ago. People like they're like in another world. They don't even know it existed at one time. You ask them what Revenge of the Nerds, they don't even know what that is. They don't even know what The Breakfast Club, half of them anymore. And that was a great movie. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago on the show, but if you're gonna get offended by shit, just don't listen to it. You're not gonna stop people. You can make a big deal about it and try to look what happened to Roseanne Barr. It worked for a year, and now she's got one of the biggest shows in the world. You guys are just making them popular. If you don't like something, don't buy the product. You've been doing a good job with that with Bud Light. But what you're not realizing is, and this is what's sad, is you're hurting Bud Light, but the people who work for them are the ones losing their jobs. And that's what the problem is. You don't think about. You think about your beliefs and your problem and what you're get mad about. I get it. You don't like certain things. The problem is the people from Budweiser, the main corporate people, are the ones that pick who they want to represent their beers. And I'm just using an example, not the people who are working for them. So what happens is with Bud Light dropping to number 3.5, they've laid off 6,000 people. So you cost 6,000 jobs. So when you got to listen, and I'm talking about this in all general, when you try to, cancel stuff and people, if you don't buy it, you're not just hurting the company. They're going to survive, the main people, but the people who have jobs, you're hurting them. And you're losing their jobs. Not everybody who works at Budweiser isn't woke or believes in woke or against woke. They just have a fucking job. They don't care. But I don't think people really think about that. They only care about themselves. So there's the horn, and I'm going to throw it to that cocksucker with the horn right now, and you can hear what he has to say.
Yeah, I forgot the cup and left it at work, man. I've been using that thing to shut people down at work too. But Eminem, man, in my opinion, with that situation, think about how long it's been since we heard anything really from Eminem. I think that part of it is him bringing back that, but I think another part of it is that motherfucker's probably going broke because he wasn't doing nothing, so he had to go back to what made him, I mean, that's kind of what it is. It's a publicity situation, you know what I'm saying? But, but you're exactly right, man. All this stuff people out here getting offended by. And, there's one thing to teach people to be respectful towards other people, race, nationality, whatever it is. But the thing is, man, they skip over respecting people for that, right here talking about politics, man. I remember when I was young that, politics was talked about and stuff like that, but you did not have what you had today with that. But people get offended, man, because they've made it so easy in this world to be able to just sue, to be able to get somebody, sue them because they hurt your feelings is what it comes down to. And the thing is, we have dumbed down the generation that is following, that's today. And they've made it to the point to where parents can't even be parents anymore and smack somebody, their kid's ass with imagine, Hershey, what we the things that our parents did to correct us, what would happen today. You know, I could see them telling them to go out. Like the other day, I saw, I was sitting at the stoplight right outside of Gettysburg, and I seen this kid, man, and his mom's like hand on her hips, and a colored kid, nothing to do with that, but black. And she was standing there while he cut the switch. Well, I'm thinking it was grandma. I don't think it was mom. As he cut, looked at the switches to cut off. And I'm thinking, man, don't get the little one. Get the big one. Believe it or not, get the big one. That's what I'm thinking. And I started laughing to myself, and I'm thinking, good Lord, man, if that kid would be in school right now and would go to school tomorrow with whelps on his behind, what they would do to that woman. They want you to, it's a dumb down, man. It's all about my way or no way. It's narcissism. It's, I don't even know how to explain it sometimes. I, have to watch. We just had a meeting on this at work the other day. I have younger people that work for me. I have a fabulous crew that works under me, so I'm kind of lucky. But there's people down, actually on the West Coast, there's somebody that's trying to, sue one of the managers over there because they corrected them because they were doing something wrong, but they didn't want to, they wanted to do it the way they were going to do it and screw any kind of, management or superiority. And it was just ridiculous. And the crazy thing is, sometimes this stuff doesn't make it through court, but the money that's spent to keep from getting sued or to win or whatever is in there. But Eminem, he even said it, man, that the world is soft. He was talking about that with one of his interviews last week. I was watching him. Crap, I could tell you who it was, but it was a Rolling Stone, I believe, or somebody like that was talking to him. They had a show. He was going to it, and it was another band that was playing. And he was going to check them out, and they were asking about the controversy. And he's like, this world's gone soft. He was like, I'm going to sing about things. He did it purposely, man, to piss people off. That's what he did, was to, explain. And the sad thing is, man, what people, you and I are both musicians, man. We know how we feel when it comes to playing music, and the heart and the feeling that we put into it and stuff like that. But I would never expect anybody, if I sang about suicide or something like that, I would want people to maybe, say, man, I relate to that, or something like that. But the sad thing is, man, things like Eminem and people like that, they don't, they are artists just like anybody else. And people dive too much into the music scenes out here that make them, it used to be, man, we had the grunge guys. It used to be, we had the heavy metal dudes. We had the rappers, the wannabes and stuff like that and everything. And yeah, we've seen some issues with them though, but it was an identity thing. You look at it now, man, and like, there is no identity anymore. It's almost like they have to be led to be given an identity based on, what somebody. And that's what Eminem was talking about. It was like, this is my identity I used to have. I mean, all this rap shit, man, like with, NWA and all that shit, Dre and all them back in the day and stuff. I'd hear people arguing about that shit and Suge Knight and all the, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, 90% of it, in my opinion, well, I don't want to say 90%, but a good percentage of it, them motherfuckers are probably sitting back somewhere all together, drinking beers and smoking weed and laughing because they got everybody out here thinking that this one's this and this one's that, and all the conspiracy theories and all that shit. You know, and Eminem talked about that, man, on one of his albums back and like in the 80s or in the 90s, early 2000s about, you know, I've never really been into him, but he was talking about people falling for bullshit, you know, like puppets. That's exactly what. So think about today's society, man, when it comes to politics. Think about when it comes to education. Pretty much they puppeteered today's generation, man, to be upset and pissed off about every single thing that, you know, they want to say that they're making them an individual. But the thing is, they're not. They're making them hate every damn thing out here, you know? And unless it agrees with what they feel like it agrees with, or, you know, like the Eminem thing, this girl, you know, she didn't like it, so the whole fucking world's not supposed to like it. And that's the attitude that these people have. And don't tell me that I got to do something. Don't tell me that I can't get on TikTok and talk shitty about, you know, Eminem and this and that. Well, yeah, you have an open forum that you're allowed to do freedom of speech, but that's exactly what the fuck he's doing, you know? But the thing is, having an opinion in today's society has went from, this is how I feel about it, and if you don't like it, fuck you. You know, that's the way we kind of was. You know, now it's like, this is my opinion and you go along with it or I'm going to fucking ruin you or, sue you or do something. You know, it's never just giving an opinion, no kind of intellectual debate anymore. It's my way or no way. And that's what, like the chick he's talking about, I seen the exact TikTok he's talking about. And she was absolutely, man, having an anxiety mental breakdown over it. And, you know, it's like, I can understand where you're upset if it hits home about something that you are passionate about. I absolutely do. Just like, you know, he was talking about, you know, Down syndrome and stuff like that. You know, I don't like that. That pisses me off a little bit, but you got to look at it from a wider view that he is busting everybody's chops. And what he's doing, man, is pretty much, in my opinion, other than needing to get back on, you know, the billboard, he also, like he said, this world's gone soft. So I'm going to sing about everything that pisses people off and not give a shit. And that's exactly what he's doing. And so I have to give him kudos on that. Even though that's not my kind of music, I don't get into it a whole lot. I think he is a talented guy. I think he did come from some, you know, a pretty, just like Vance, come from a poor family, drugs involved, alcohol. And, you know, so you got to give him kudos that he, you know, didn't fall into the trap like everybody else did and busted ass to get out of it. And, you know, so he has every right to give his little opinion on things. But the thing is, do you really think that he thinks ill of people with disabilities and stuff like that actually in real life? Like, does he really, really think shitty of those people? Most likely not. It's just rapping. Like he said, the world's going soft, so let them hear this. And that's what I think his exact words were. But my opinion, I think that really he did it for the shock factor so he could get back into the swing of things. You know what I'm saying? Like back on board with being in the top 40 and shit like that. My opinion. But he still sucks.
Eminem. Garbage. Garbage. But garbage with a purpose. A lot of this music today is garbage with a purpose. What do they glorify? What message are they trying to send? Look at his new album. Evil. Lucifer. Antichrist. Those are 3 songs on that piece of shit album. What are all these rappers talking about, the majority of them? Drugs, being a gangster, abusing women. It's with a purpose. What group of people would you associate most with rap? The black people, right? That's the main people. Yeah, there are a lot of crackers that listen to it too. I'm not really one of them. I really can't stand rap that much. There's not a whole lot of. I like Tom McDonald. I think he's really talented. I don't have anything against rap itself. It's the message that I don't like that they're sending. Okay, and there's a reason behind it. This ties in with politics. This ties in with why black people are in the shape that they're in right now, and why it's starting to become a problem with Hispanics and with whites as well, because they're listening to all this crap. The 1990s, Joe Biden passed the crime bill. They called black people super predators. I've talked about that before. Now, what that actually did was lock up most of the fathers. So you didn't have fathers in the home anymore in the black community. The government took the place of the father. Hey, we'll give you all this money in welfare. We'll give you all this money in food stamps. We'll take care of you. Don't worry about it. And as a matter of fact, if you have more kids, we'll pay you more money. So the government successfully took the place of the father in the black home. And it's gotten to the point where socially it's acceptable in the black community for you to knock somebody up and then bail and not even be there. That's not acceptable in other communities. But it is in the black community now. Okay? Thomas Sowell wrote an amazing piece on this. He's a black gentleman who is one of the most brilliant people alive today. He's absolutely brilliant. And if you don't know who he is, check him out and read some of his stuff because he's a genius. But it's intentional. They want to keep you powerless. They want to keep you down. They want to keep you voting for them. As long as you're sucking the government tit and you can't take care of yourself, you're going to keep voting for the people who are offering you more and more benefits. It's all by design. Look at what they promote. We talk all the time about America being dumbed down, about the education system failing the students, about how stupid people are. They don't know anything anymore. Entertainment plays a big role in that. They stop teaching you stuff in school. They just give you propaganda. Music, propaganda. They glorify the wrong things. Movies, propaganda. We're always bitching about that. All of us are. They take some great old movie we loved and they turn it all woke and stupid. Over and over and over again. It's all propaganda. They're trying to shape public opinion. They're trying to get you to do a certain thing. Now, why would they want black people to vote Democrat other than just to stay in office? What do the Democrats push? What is their big issue that they're all about? Abortion. That's their number one issue. The majority of people that vote Democrat because they're pro-abortion. Now, why is that destructive for the black community? What does that have to do with black people? Multiple things. Number one, black people statistically get way more abortions than any other race. So you're talking about a literal genocide of black babies, wiping out a huge percentage of your future population are being murdered in the womb. Who started all of this stuff? What organization is associated the most with abortion? That would be Planned Parenthood, correct? Who started Planned Parenthood? A lady named Margaret Sanger. Do you know who Margaret Sanger was? She was a massive, massive racist and eugenicist. She wanted the black race wiped off the face of the earth. You can read papers that she wrote that talks about using abortion as a tool to exterminate the black race. What better way to get rid of the black race than to have them kill themselves. And then make them think that it's their right to do it. But see, that's had bleed over into other races as well. And that's because of this culture. You see, white people decided, hey, we like black culture. We like black people. They're all right. You know, they're not all terrible like the Democrats told us they were. They're actually all right. You know, they're good people. So we start listening to their music. We start doing the stuff they do, and now some of our people are affected as well. But don't think that it's a mistake. Don't think that it's by accident that all this shit happens. You know, Eminem, as far as he goes, fuck Eminem. Who cares? Who cares about that dipshit, man? He's a fucking loser. He's an idiot. I don't care what Eminem says. He's desperately trying to be relevant again because nobody gives a fuck about him. He's yesterday's news. He's some old guy who nobody cares about. Fuck him. So what does he do? Every once in a while he pops up and says some outlandish shit. Remember when he popped up and tried to do that diss track on Trump when last time Trump was running? The most atrocious, retarded rap I've ever heard. Didn't make any sense. It was lame as hell. Who cares? He's just another one of these liberal idiots in entertainment and in Hollywood who all he does is bash the president and tell you to vote for Democrats. That's all he does. He's a garbage person. And he promotes shit that you shouldn't want your kids being interested in. You wonder why all this shit's going wrong in our country. Look at our children. They're messed up, man. They're dumber than shit. They got no respect for nobody because they grew up their whole life listening to music and seeing movies that glorified being a thug. I'm a gangster. I'm going to shoot up some shit, yo. It's fucking dumb. Why are those people being put up as heroes in the black community? And then you wonder why you're killing each other at record numbers. Look at who you're idolizing. It wasn't always that way. It's not a problem with black people being bad. It has nothing to do with them being black. You know how I know that? Because it didn't used to be this way. Do you remember what black people were like in the 40s and 50s? You remember before the Civil Rights Bill, before they got sold out to race hustlers like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and all them jackasses who started taking advantage of them, getting them to vote for Democrats all the time? And then they end up in these fucking ghettos and these slums, and they're relying on the Democrats for their life. Do you remember what those people were like before that? They were some of the strongest, most faith-based, loving people. Have you guys ever heard of a thing, and I know you guys probably have, but I'm talking to the audience. Have you ever heard of a thing called Black Wall Street? There was a rush, a massive boom of black businesses and literally a Black Wall Street setup that was doing amazing. Black people were getting wealthy. Black people were succeeding beyond anybody's wildest dreams. It was glorious. And then they shut all that shit down. This is all a plan to keep you down. Why do you think that they don't want school choice? Why do you think that the Democrat Party, who runs your cities in those ghettos and those slums that you live in that you're always bitching about, the Democrats run them places? Why do you think they're against charter schools? Why do you think they're against school choice? They don't want you to have a chance. They don't want you to be able to go to school at a good school that's actually going to teach you something so you can succeed and have a life. They don't want that. Because when you're not stupid and you're not relying on them for a handout, they can't control you no more. Look at all the amazing black success stories there's been. People like Dr. Ben Carson, a world-renowned neurosurgeon. Absolutely brilliant man. Tim Scott, Thomas Sowell. I could go on for hours. There are so many people. Dr. Ben Carson was raised in the ghetto. He chose to go to the library instead of hang out on the street corner and sell drugs. He chose to try to better himself. And it wasn't easy for him because it's not set up for that. Those places are not set up for you to succeed. Those places are set up to keep you desperate and keep you killing each other. It's the truth, man. You may not like it, but it's the truth. And I love black people enough to tell you the truth. Those people are not your friends. They're not looking out for you. And more people are waking up to that bullshit. That's why you see a lot of black people supporting Trump, because Trump actually walked the walk. He actually did something. He gave them the platinum plan. He funded the historically black colleges. He actually did something for the black community. The Democrats have never done anything for you. Every 4 years, they start talking about some black person that was shot by the cops who was a criminal piece of shit, and they lie about what happened, get everybody all pissed off. They call all of us racist and all this shit just so you'll vote for them. And then as soon as you cast that vote and they're elected, what do? They turn around and don't do a fucking thing for you. You might as well be dead to them. They don't even care until the next time they need your vote. Then they'll kiss your ass again and pretend like they're going to do something. They asked Kamala, they said, what are you going to do for the black community? You know what she said? Nothing. She's not going to do anything for you. She said it in a fucking interview. She doesn't care about you. They don't care. Think about this. Last thing I'll say. Talking about abortion, right? That is an issue that has got everybody all fired up all the time. But think about this. Everybody always bitches about God. Everybody always says, well, why does God allow people to die of cancer? Why does God allow this to happen? Why does God allow this horrible thing to happen, right? How do you know that God didn't send the person that was going to cure cancer? And your evil ass aborted him. How do you know you didn't kill tons of these people in the womb that had breakthrough discoveries that would have changed the world for the better? How do you know that God don't keep sending these people to try to help your dumb ass and you keep killing them? It's my right. How many? Millions. Millions. Everybody talks shit about the founding fathers on the left. And all of you do. They were slave owners. They were this. They were that, right? Because you're viewing history through your eyes of today. Think about how the future is going to view you. Think about the future people looking back on this time period and saying, these fucking people, these savages, these fucking animals were killing their own babies. Think about that. You talk about how bad slavery was, and I'm not saying slavery was good. I'm with you on that. Slavery sucked. How do you think the future is going to view you? When they look back and they say, what did they do? They took a pair of scissors and went up in the womb and chopped that little fucker into pieces and then vacuumed them out? That's barbaric. It's evil. It's all a plan, man. Y'all need to open your fucking eyes and realize that most of these people who you idolize and most of this shit that you think is so cool and so important, look at what it's actually saying. Look at the message it's sending to your children. And then you wonder why they're so fucked up all the time. Look who raised them. Probably wasn't you. You were probably at work, working 2 or 3 jobs just to pay the rent on an apartment. Because our economy is so fucked all the time. So they're being raised by degenerates like fucking Eminem and Meg Thee Stallion, who's up there at Kamala's speech that she gave, shaking her ass on stage. Because, you know, Kamala's got to try to get the black vote, so she figures the only way black people will vote for me, the only way black people can get excited or understand if there's some hoe up there shaking their ass. That's what she thinks of you. That's pretty sad, guys. I don't know about you, but if it was her doing that to white people, I'd be pretty pissed off. I'd be like, hey, fuck you. Why don't you come here and talk to me about issues? Why don't you tell me what you're going to do for our community? You think you can just bring some hoe up here and have her shake her ass on stage and that's going to get me to vote for you? It's insulting as fuck, man. All right, Andy's turn is next, I think, is the last one. I'm on a rant thing tonight. I missed last week, so I'm all pent up. So go ahead, brother.